Hello my friends and welcome back. It is Wednesday my dudes. Happy Wednesday to you. We'll begin today with a Russian soldier posting video after video, day after day about his duty at the S-400 posts. He was deployed as a driver of the S-400. Let's watch the videos and I'll read you the subtitles. I'm sitting here in the car on duty. This thing is working, the diesel engine works, that's it. So he's surprised that this thing is actually working. Our S-400 actually works. Wow, wow. I'm sitting and thinking what to do. Maybe I should watch videos on TikTok or play tanks. Does it mean World of Tanks? Is this a way to segment the sponsor? Nah, I don't have a sponsor today. Or sleep. I don't know. Can you believe it? We did it. Yes, this works. So this is another day now. Second day. He posts, films everything. He's proud about it working. We're protected now. Fly here quickly. He says, "Это говно работает," which means this S word or crap is working. I'm on duty to speak. I'm at the airport in Kursk. We know exactly which airport, because there's a point to this. Patience. We know exactly what airport, because I'm not going to watch the rest of the video, but thanks to this soldier filming his every day and how bored he is there every day, Ukrainian forces were able to geolocate the area, the exact airport, which is the Khalino airport in Kursk. Let me deliver the exact location to you. See, this is the city of Kursk in the Kursk Oblast of Russia. We zoom in, we see a beautiful little airport over here, which is called the Khalino airport or Khalino. And it's a civilian and a military airport in one. He was stationed here and it was the S-400 that was here. That was struck yesterday with ATACMS. What a surprise! Russia claims Ukraine hit its Kursk Oblast overnight with 7 ATACMS missiles and 12 drones. One missile struck Khalino Airbase, wounding 2 servicemen, Russian authorities say. However, video suggests multiple missiles hit the base. By the way, that happened at the night of 25th of November. Ukraine's super accurate ATACMS strikes on Russian best air defense system in Kursk region last night. Just think, all Russia's partner nations are relying on these systems for protection, and NATO missiles from 1990s easily turned them to cinders. And since 2 days have passed from it, we have more details about the casualties of this. Ukraine actually used 3 ATACMS missiles as a result of the strike. 92 N6E radar station and 2 launchers were destroyed. 5 officers of the division were knocked out cold, including the commander and chief of staff, and 3 employees of Almaz-Antey were also wounded. Always a good day when the newest Russian air defense system and one of the most modern Russian military systems they have gets destroyed, gets knocked out cold, sent to sleep with the fishes. A good day for me, a good day for you. My friends, these are all the patches of the campaigns. There's plenty of them. You cannot see them all. I'll put back the green screen now. But I just want to report to you that all of the patches have been sent out to every last one who has donated the right amount to any of my campaigns. If you haven't received the patch, then you can do so by becoming a member of Buy Me a Coffee. Link is in the description below. Become a member, write to me your address and name, and I'll be sending you out the patch for your support to the channel. All the patches for the previous campaigns sent out. I just wanted to report that you know we're on the same page. Everybody should have received them by now. If there's any issues about this, please do write to me and you will get your patch. But if you did miss the campaigns, then just become a member of Buy Me a Coffee, monthly member, write to me, and I'll be sending you a patch within a week. Ukrainian Chief of Staff Syrsky has announced a new counteroffensive by the armed forces of Ukraine. Now I know what you're thinking. Why announce this? And Artur, why are you reporting about this? My friends, this is public information. The Ukrainian intelligence themselves decided to publish this. Therefore, it has to play some kind of a role in their plans. They need the Russians to know that they are starting a new counteroffensive, because to let the enemy know about something is also to guide the enemy into an area you want them to. I am just reporting on what the Ukrainian intelligence is reporting. Now, they have definitely learned from the 2023 counteroffensive, which failed. They announced it, they talked about it, Russians prepared, and it failed. The counteroffensive failed. So if they're announcing a new one now, this is after they have taken into account the lessons from 2023 failed counteroffensive. So there is a goal to making this announcement public. The Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Alexander Syrsky, reported that the situation on the Pokrovsk and Kyiv directions have been stabilized. And don't worry about their names. We'll actually look at the military map so you know where they are exactly and what we're talking about. And future counteroffensive by the Ukrainian armed forces is being planned. I'll use this extremely simplified map, but it shows every advancement in the past 24 hours. I'll zoom in to the Eastern Front so we see the main assault operation of the Russian armed forces right now. This here is Pokrovsk settlement. It has been the main goal of the Russian assault operations in Eastern Front, the main thrust, and you can also see the red salient here. Russians have been advancing daily in this frontal area. Syrsky reports that the situation here has been stabilized, well, because for the last 2 months, Russians have been advancing every day, Ukrainians have been retreating. You cannot say the defense has collapsed, but it definitely has given way to the Russians. Well, now supposedly it's stabilized. And if he said the situation is stabilized also in Kurakhove, or Kurakhove, however you want to pronounce it, it's this settlement right here, right next to the water reservoir that actually has a dam that was destroyed very recently. It was done by the Ukrainians. The dam is right here. That's the reservoir. Kurakhove is still half controlled by the Ukrainians, half taken by the Russians. And the situation here, they actually do face surroundment, so they are pulling out. My prediction is in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we see Ukrainians retreating from Kurakhove and the surrounding areas, and Russians taking the ground. Now, Pokrovsk, right here, the main goal, as I mentioned before, this settlement has a massive logistical importance. You can already see it very primitively on the map. I mean, it's a connection point to the highways. It's also a connection point to the railways. And if Russians would take this city, it would simplify their further advancements even faster. But yesterday information came from Syrsky that the situation has been stabilized. I'll keep you updated on this frontal area in the future. I'll continue on the front. Now we'll jump to the northern front, northern eastern front, and to the city of Kupiansk, this settlement right here. Now with Kupiansk, it's important to remember that there is this Oskil river. The little blue line you see right here that splits Kupiansk is called the Oskil river, and up until now Russians have not been able to cross it. It's about 50 to 60 meters wide, not the widest river, but still it's a physical obstacle difficult to take under fire. But now Russians have crossed it and made a bridgehead on the western side of the Oskil river. Current situation at Novomlinsk, the Russians crossed the Oskil river, 50-meter width, and captured positions in the forest west of it. The southernmost section of the local hill fell in the gray zone. Let's look at the map also. Kupiansk is a little bit south from this area you see on the map. The blue line here, of course, being the Oskil river, and Russians control. Well, this is, you see physically, this is the area. They control this forest belt right here. Now, it might seem like a small thing, but it is no small thing. Crossing this river and establishing a bridgehead is a huge headache for the Ukrainians, and it serves as a further assault operations platform for the Russians. Unfortunately, I hate to report it, but this is a success for the Russians, and it will turn into further land taken in the future, in the coming days even. By the way, this frontal area near Kupiansk, northern eastern front, has been one of the most stable fronts ever since 2022, but now Russians are very heavily pushing here. After daring breakthrough attempts in Kupiansk itself on November 24th, where actually a few days ago, yes, Russians were at the outskirts of the city of Kupiansk, connecting into the urbanized area. But by now, it's reported that Ukrainians have pushed them out of the city again. Russian forces attacked arguably the most stable direction of the front, the Dvarichna front, the northern eastern front near Kupiansk. This front has not seen any contact line changes since mid-September 2022. The Russians likely chose to attack this front for a main reason: the unpreparedness of Ukrainian forces and defenses here. The area is almost completely devoid of prepared fortifications, and number of Ukrainian forces defending it is likely quite low. Looking closer, we can see that the Ukrainian lines in the area are supported by tall and jagged chalk hills. The only suitable point for a river crossing is exactly Novomlinsk, where exactly Russians have crossed and established a bridgehead. No chalk hills, only forests providing cover and small settlements in the way. And here you can see the topographic map with the hills marked with a little bit of a reddish tone right here, where the Russians have established their bridgehead is exactly in that valley we just talked about. And now a final report from Kupiansk. Russian channels themselves are reporting that their forces withdrew from Kupyansk and are calling it a failed attempt to capture the city. And they call it a disgrace. And you can see it on the map. This is the northeastern part, is where they tried to enter the urbanized area, but were pushed out for now. Now, my friends, I'll report to you about North Korean troops, and as I said in the previous videos, they have found some surprises in the freedom they have had in the Russian army. North Korea is a fully closed country, no internet. In the Russian army, it's also a similar system, but compared to North Korea, it's much more free. You can have a smartphone, you have the internet. So they have been watching an endless amount of porn. I'm not kidding you, this is not a meme. There's actually reported issues with North Korean troops being addicted to porn because they have no mental defenses against it, since they have not had a contact with it at all. But now they have taken it a step further. 2 North Koreans are wanted by the Russian police in Kursk. They asked an underage girl to show them her, well, you know what part. After they trained on FPV classes, they wanted some practice. And if you don't know what is meant here by the FPV classes, then yeah, they're watching porn with FPV classes and doing the things they do, you know. And now they took it to the next level. This is an issue nobody predicted. Nobody even thought this would be the downfall of the troops of North Korea. Free porn from the internet. My friends, now we'll go through all of the charts of the ruble to USD, because yesterday it was an explosion or an implosion. Actually, ruble fell a whole 4% yesterday, one of the biggest changes in one day throughout the last 20 years. One of the biggest, not the biggest, 4%. We saw it hit 107 rubles per dollar, which is the lowest. Actually, it's the second lowest of the whole full-scale invasion, but it's in a free fall right now. And the charts all represent it. This, by the way, being the Russian stock exchange chart, because it also mirrors the fall of the ruble. They are both in a free fall. It's a beautiful sight to see. I have started reporting more and more on Russian economic situation because it is so important, because this war is expensive, because every soldier gets paid monthly, or at least should get paid monthly in Russian army, and if they don't, well, that's going to be a massive issue, and the money is very much corrected to the course of the ruble. The ruble lost nearly 4% of value today. Central bank head Nabiullin essentially gave up keeping the currency at an artificial peg through constant purchases of ruble, with Russia held foreign currency and other assets. Serious uncertainty ahead for the Russian economy. And now a little bit of a funny to you. That is not funny at all, because it is the reality. Russians be like, €1. Do you know what's the difference between a ruble and an euro? 1 euro. Why I keep on reporting about this economy is because in my eyes it is as important or even more important than the changes on the front lines, because this is what is the engine behind the Russian military machine, their economy. So I'll keep you in the loop in every video. There are clear signs that Russian economy is headed towards a collapse. Resources are being used to the maximum. This means they will be increasingly expensive for enterprises and not everyone will be able to afford them. Prices are increasing and the Russian central bank cannot stop them. Last week, according to Rosstat, inflation rose again up to 0.37%. A week earlier it was 0.3%. The slowdown price growth is necessary either to stop the economic growth and budget expenditures, infusions in the military-industrial complex, or put up with the inflation rates above the target. Two bad choices. Only certain industries are growing in Russia, primarily machinery. In other words, what the budget pays a huge amount of money for and what goes to be destroyed in Ukraine is on the rise. This means that the money poured into industry does not bring anything to the economy except for the figures that are pleasant to the ears of the authorities. But even this growth has already been exhausted, as next year GDP will increase by only 0.5 to 1%, and the growth rates of investments and private consumption may go to zero. The International Monetary Fund predicts that the Russian economy will slow down threefold, from 3.9% growth this year to 1.3% growth next year. This is 3.5 times less than in developed countries and 5 to 6 times less than in China or India. A total of 4,363 legal Russian entities were declared bankrupt in the first 6 months of 24, which is 40% more than in the same period of a year earlier. Another short thread for you. You're all up in the loop now. You know what's going on. My prediction is the same. Everybody predicted it at the beginning of 2022, screaming that Russia will implode. Well, they didn't. Putin poured hundreds of billions of dollars into the Russian economy, saving it and stabilizing the ruble. Well, now those resources have started to run out. We are now seeing the fall of the ruble and the implosion of the Russian economy, but it is slow. It takes time. It is not as fast as people predicted. Those predictions in 2022 were so massive that now everybody is apathetic to it. I'm here to say, give it time. It will go down slowly. They will implode in slow motion. It's not going to be like a fast submarine imploding. It will be a slow but steady downfall that you cannot get out of for decades. Now, I will read you a thread and an opinion of a Donald Trump's Senate ally, Mike Rounds. He poured cold water over the idea of negotiating a peace deal with Russia and Ukraine, saying that the Kremlin couldn't be trusted and would see any peace proposals as a sign of Western weakness. I do agree with it. And also, I have to say this, I have stayed away from United States politics on my channel, but Donald Trump being the next official United States president, I'll say also to everybody who is very much against Trump that decision have been made by United States people. It's a democratic choice. We have to respect it and we have to work with them. Whatever our opinions about Trump, he will run the most powerful country for the next 4 years. So I will stay away from criticizing him and I will focus more on what must be done for Ukraine to win. And in this case, it's a Trump's ally talking about how we must not freeze the conflict. I do agree with it and I stand behind that message and I'll share it with you. I quote, "As much as I would like to believe we can negotiate with a tyrant, I suspect we may be deceiving ourselves. Do you believe that this tyrant, if you offer him a part of a free country, do you think he's gonna stop? I wish I could say there's an easy way out. There's not." The United States Senator is absolutely right. You can't just freeze the line. First, rewarding Russian aggression would give a green light to all dictators to attack other countries. There are countries in the world that are run by dictators, and they have been punished in the past. They have been afraid. They have had their lines set for them, because if they cross, the United States will punish them. It has been like that. This is what we call a rules-based order of the world, where dollar is king and United States controls the world seas. It has been like it. Say what you want in the comments. That has been the truth. Now, if this were to change, if United States does not want to be the policeman of the world anymore, that's okay. That's the choice of the United States people and government. But they must be aware what is the secondary effect of this decision. It is that all dictators in the world now see the absence of ruler, a power vacuum, and they will do what they want to do. It's a green light for all of the dictators. I'm not saying that the United States must be the policeman of the world. I'm just saying that every United States citizen must acknowledge what's the outcome of their decision. And they have a right to decide themselves. Yesterday, there was a new absolute record, or an anti-record. Russia launched 188 Shahed drones in one single attack. 76 out of these were shot down by Ukraine. 95 were lost locally, and 5 more flew to Belarus. Those who fly to Belarus, it might sound confusing, but they're actually spoofed by Ukrainians and given new coordinates, and they fly to the new coordinates in Belarus and back to Russia. Another water pipe has burst in Russia, and again it might sound like this is boring. Hey, water pipes burst everywhere. Yes, they do, but it's in Russia. I've made this prediction a long time, and every video. This winter is going to be very, very interesting. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people will be without heating, electricity and water in the winter of -15, -20 Celsius. This is a temperature that you will freeze to death very fast. Frostbite sets in very fast if you don't have any heating sources. And Russian heating sources are Russian piping systems, because it's all a central heating system of the Soviet Union, which have not been maintained for 50 years. It's running out right now in this winter and in the next one. Keep an eye on it. It will be very interesting, and I'll keep you in the loop on this one. My friends, I saw this photo and I wanted to share it with you. I bring to you the bukhanka, a loaf truck is it what it's called. And you might think this is a Scooby-Doo van from the 70s. No, my friends, this truck was made in 2024. This is a brand new production. They have restarted the mass production of this truck, as this is the main logistic vehicle of the Russian army right now, 2024. And it has a little bit of a mushroom on top of it. This is a drone jammer. Why do I find it funny? Well, because the drone jammers quite expensive and rare, even for the Ukrainians. They are usually put to the best vehicles and the most important vehicles. Well, if you see a loaf truck being the best and most important vehicle, that tells you quite a bit. And then I saw this video, and I just wanted to see you, 2 Russian soldiers having a bonking competition. Bonk, 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 bonk. Each of these bonks is 1,000 KIAs of Putin's meat. Bonk. No more bonks. I've always believed it, that European Union and Europe and NATO in Europe must be able to protect itself without United States if necessary, because United States people, as a democratic nation, have a right to choose what they do. If they want to withdraw from wherever they want to withdraw, they have the right. So we must be self-sufficient, defensive terms. NATO is discussing the introduction of high-precision, preemptive strikes on territory of Russia, said Admiral Bob Bauer, head of Bloc's military committee. It is more competent not to wait, but to hit the missile launchers in Russia in case Russia attacks us. What is needed is a combination of precision strikes that will paralyze the systems which we are attacked. And we must strike first. And I do agree, we must get our claws back. Europe used to be a military powerhouse. Of course, you don't need to tell me what happened. Second World War happened. But it doesn't mean we have to submit to every dictator in the world. We can be militarily strong and not kill ourselves at the same time. It is possible, my friends. Have faith in it. Restore your power, restore your strength. Europe is powerful, but they're afraid of themselves, I feel like it. We need to remilitarize. Just to illustrate how vulnerable is the European Union and how little we have poured into our defense, there is not enough attention being paid to Ireland in the discourse on European security. And look at that. Ireland being one of the tax havens, one of the favorite countries for European and the world's biggest companies to register themselves into, because it is favorable for the companies. Business situation in Ireland is very good. So these are internet cables, underwater internet cables. Most of the European cables connect to United Kingdom and to Ireland. Now, these seas are also used by Russian Baltic fleet. You saw how easy it was to disrupt the cables between Estonia, Finland, Lithuania, Sweden. Chinese ships could do it. Russians haven't even used their own ships. We are very vulnerable. These cables are very vulnerable, and they are the basis of these big companies. For example, Google, I think, is listed in Ireland because I get my YouTube paycheck from Irish bank. And now, correct me if I'm wrong here, of course, maybe they're not. But these cables, all of them can be destroyed by a dragging anchor like the Chinese ship did to the recent cable in the Baltic Sea. What will we do against it? What will we do to defend these cables? Why did I sound Irish for a moment? What will we do to defend these cables? Now, my friends, I saw a thread I want to share with you that things are not as they seem. This thread just illustrates it with the example of United States Nimitz. It's an aircraft carrier of United States Navy, and this is a photo of it. Ooh, it's rusty. But wait, it's not what you think. It's not how it looks like. As a former 4-year boat guy from General Dynamics, I think I'm going to do what the cool kids call a crash out if I see one more comment about how surface rust on the hull paint of naval ships is supposed indicator of a falling empire, or some other Greek tattooed profile pic talking point. If you get me started on how surface rust is a literal nothing burger, I'm going to scare the hose. I don't want to scare the hose just yet, but I'm going to do that later. Never mind, I just had a great dinner. I have decided to scare the hose. I don't know what it means, but I like the expression, and this is a very important paragraph of how things are in the world's militaries. All the surface rust you see here is actually on the multi-layered coats of hull paint, meaning none of it is actually contaminating the steel under those layers, which is the part you don't want to rust in. This is good because it eventually gets brought into repair, dry dock, the rusted layers of paint get grinded out and repainted with said layers once more. So, you see that aircraft carrier, USS Nimitz, and you say, oh, look at the United States aircraft carrier rotting, it's a falling empire. And then you see the Russian army with all their propaganda posters and videos and advertisements and advancements on the front, by the way. And you might say, ooh, that's going to be the new empire. They're going to bring down the dollar. They're going to take over the position of the world police. Well, things are not how they seem. The mighty Russian army looks great on the surface, but is empty inside. And this USS Nimitz rusts on the outside, but it packs a punch no country in the world can take. I saw another good meme, and it's a Wednesday after all, so I have to bring a little bit of joy to your life. Oh look, a shooting star. I wish Crimea was Russian. It's HIMARS, blядь. And somebody commented this photo here. I have a point because I was here. This is Russian embassy in Canada. And this is the local Canadians there are protesting every night, every day for this since the start of the full-scale invasion. And yeah, I remember I was here. I did my American tour in February 24, and I spent here 3 days protesting against the embassy. And we stopped the Russian cars, the Russian diplomats. We didn't allow them to enter. Of course, in the end we did, because we are not allowed to physically touch the cars, but we could move out of the way very slowly. So we could still disrupt their workload and play Ukrainian music and sing Ukrainian songs. It was a lot of fun. Now, my friends, I wanna do something special for you for the Hump Day edition. I'm gonna kill some Buy Me a Coffee monthly members with my Estonian pronunciation. If I mean kill, I of course mean love and thank, but I'm gonna butcher their names with my rough Nordic Estonian language. Tanja Stromer, Mikael Mitkel, Basten Blecker, Kurt. Kurt, by the way, means deaf in Estonian, you know, the one who cannot hear. George Kovacs. Yeah, very nice butchering today. If you want your name to be read in a way you've never heard before, then become a monthly member. Also, if you missed one of the campaigns, you saw behind me the patches, and you want the patch of Artur's army, you want to be a part of it, because plenty of people have it already. Become a monthly member and buy me a coffee. Write to me your address, and I'll be sending you one as a thank you note. Now, my friends, I shot a music video recently, and it's coming out very soon. It's a very cool it's a very cool song in Estonian with a very cool beat. And you can hear it in the video also. I'll share you a very small sneak peek of it at the end of this video. It's gonna play very soon. There's gonna be a full song with a full video, so expect it on my channel in the future. But until then, and until Friday, in 2 days, I'm gonna have a next video. Be sure to be back. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.
Kui mina ükskord noore seas võtsin vana naise, kui mina ükskord noore seas võtsin vana naise, siis tema kurat kiusas mind ühest päevast teise, siis tema kurat kiusas mind ühest päevast teise. Läksin surnuaiale, palusin seal surma, läksin surnuaiale, palusin seal surma. Tule surma, päästa mind, vii mu naine hauda, tule surma, päästa mind, vii mu naine hauda. Läksin koju tagasi, naine oli surnud, läksin koju tagasi, naine oli surnud, surmaingel oli ta oma kaasaks viinud, surmaingel oli ta oma kaasaks viinud.